Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Homeless Commission. Let's begin by taking roll call.
Jean McVeigh.
Present.
Ken Everett.
Present.
Michelle Moore.
Present.
Ben Titone.
Present.
Shelley Briggs Loosely.
I'm here, thanks. Let's start off with the election of a vice chair for this 2026 year. Do we have any nominations?
I would like to nominate Ken Averett for the vice chair position.
Okay, we have a nomination. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Okay. All those in favor of Ken Avery to be our vice chair, please raise your hand. Oh, passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thanks.
We need to approve the June 23rd minutes of our meeting.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Is red on? Okay.
I have a
red is on.
motion
Yeah.
and a second to approve the June 23rd minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Okay, minutes are approved. Discussion items. First up, we have special projects coordinator introductions.
Good morning. I wanted to go ahead and introduce to the commission Jennifer Bragg. She started with us about 6 months ago as the special projects coordinator, and part of those responsibilities will be working with the Homeless Commission as we move forward. So you will be hearing from her throughout the agenda today.
Thank you, Nikki, and thank you and welcome, Jennifer. Next, we have the GLNC UHA grant update.
Hi, nice to meet everyone. Excited to be here. This item provides an update on operational enhancements underway at the Gary Leaf Navigation Center, including the $75,000 Umpqua Health Alliance Share Grant Award, planned installation of life space shelter units, and the lease of adjacent property at 1000 Southeast Mill Street to support improved site functionality and service delivery. The city was awarded $75,000 through the Umpqua Health Alliance Share Grant Program to support operational improvements at the Gary Leaf Navigation Center. The grant is intended to enhance service capacity and improve the physical configuration of the site. The city is working with IE Engineering to develop a site layout for the placement of 2 life space shelter quadruplex units. These modular structures are configurable and may function as 4 individual pods, a double or triple configuration, or as a family unit. The Navigation Center currently does not have dedicated family shelter pods. The addition of life space units will increase flexibility in serving individuals and families to improve privacy and dignity within the shelter system. Preliminary site planning includes maintaining required setbacks, spacing between units, and fencing considerations and utility access. The city has executed a lease agreement for the adjacent property located immediately south of the Gary Leaf Navigation Center at 1000 Mill Street. The additional space will allow for improved site configuration, including potential relocation of congregate shelter functions and expand outdoor placement of modular units. This transition will create additional interior space within the existing building for offices, case management, coordinated entry, and expanded wraparound services. The proposed reconfiguration supports the Navigation Center's Housing First and trauma-informed service approach by increasing privacy and flexibility of shelter configuration, creating capacity for family units, expanding space for case management and partner service delivery, improving overall site organization and functionality. Engineering coordination is ongoing to confirm layout, fencing, and boundary conditions. The share grant award total was $75,000. The new modular units will be installed as soon as the electrical installation is complete. Implementation of further improvements will occur as funding allows. And this was just for informational purposes only.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Do you know what the size of that additional leased lot is?
We think it's about 3/4 of an acre.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Jennifer?
I'm just curious, are there any city fees, city resources, monies, just out of curiosity, or this completely being funded by the nonprofit?
When you say by the nonprofit, by the grant, you mean? So the costs associated with the lease and the entirety of the project do overrun that 75,000, so we are using city funds as well.
Any other questions from the commission? Great, thanks again, Jennifer. Next, we have the urban campground criteria.
This one. So this one also is informational. There's been a lot of discussion about trying to establish an urban campground, and in October of 2025, council had a work study session where they, oh, sorry, I'm getting my numbers here wrong. So that's the last time we had a work study session to talk about, oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Here we go. Now I'll get my dates right. Sorry about that. I was looking at the wrong memo. The council has formulated criteria for sites that may be considered for the future urban campground, and we wanted to go ahead and share those with the commission so that you can keep your eyes open if there's something that you see, something that you hear that may be appropriate for consideration. You can contact staff with that information, or same for the public if they know of something. Things aren't always listed on commercial real estate sites, but might be available. We've had a few things come our way that way before. So in fall of 2024, the council held those discussions. In October 2nd of that year, they held a work study to establish kind of those broad criteria of what they're looking for. And they came up with the following 4 things: a minimum lot size of 1/2 acre, a budget of $600,000 or less, locations not near schools, kids' bus stops, sports complexes, waterways, parks, playgrounds, or in the middle of a residential neighborhood. And they didn't put any restrictions on zoning. So we have looked at, close to 30 sites and gone through some level of evaluation. Most of those have been eliminated prior to being brought forth to council, and those that have been considered by council so far have not advanced to a completed purchase. So again, there's no action required from the commission on this item. We just wanted to bring those high-level criteria forward in case in your everyday life or in your professional life you come across something that might be appropriate, either to be leased or purchased. Either one we would be interested in.
Do you know the distance of near?
Don't have a defined distance of near.
Okay.
Ben?
I do have a couple of questions. I'll do the easy one first. Is it permissible? I know that there are rules about the having a public meeting and notices and all of that. Is it possible for this group to have a work session that is not open to the public where
No.
it is not? What I suppose I should ask later, what level of intercommunication is available or what's allowable if we can't have a work session? What other way can we manifest an internal dialogue? Because it seems really challenging to confront all of the logistics of any particular idea if this is the only time that we can talk.
So, welcome to the beauty of public meeting law. Business is to be conducted in the public for the commission. You can have any discussion with staff that you want to have. There is no limitation on discussions with staff. You can discuss with other commissioners anything that is just factual based, that is not going to be coming for a decision, or you're not trying to sway any kind of decision making that might come before the board. But if it's just, hey, here's a fact about something, those conversations are allowed. It's something that's in the legislature again right now getting refined. And so while I'd like to give you a complete answer, it's something that the Ethics Commission really cranked down on, and now the legislature is trying to find that balance point again of how to do business, but also do business in the public.
So if I've invited these fine people over for pizza and had a map of the city of Roseburg, and we talked about sites that would be available that we could openly discuss later, that would be
A violation.
a violation. Well, that is an interesting violation.
Correct.
That is correct. It's considered a serial communication under Oregon Public Meetings Law.
Is there no nuance within that legal structure? I mean, because any time that a potential property would be discussed, it would immediately impact the city's leverage in negotiation of procuring that property. So it seems to be there should be some embedded nuance for discussion where the city would potentially be a buyer, so that we're not just setting off alarm bells for these people with properties of interest to raise their price or be more firm with their negotiation than they otherwise would be under market conditions.
So city councils can go into executive session to talk about the purchase of a property. And they have used that, our city council has used that as we've talked about properties in the past for that very reason. But I don't believe commissions have that same authority.
Are we sure? Because we're talking about the same thing that they're talking about, and we're talking about it on a precursory level before it gets to them. So can we pull that down to our level?
I'm happy to check with the Oregon Ethics Commission and get back to you.
Please do. My second question is on their 4 criteria items. The $600,000 budget, I assume, is for initial purchase, setup, that kind of. What I'm not seeing is any discussion or points related to funding.
When you say funding, you're saying ongoing operation?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. That is meant to be a target for startup operations. What I also attached to the memo is the information that staff took forward at their last work study, which are the other things that are challenges and opportunities moving forward around operations and funding and how to pay for something going forward. So the $600,000, you're correct, was for kind of that initial startup cost.
I was at that work session as a spectator, and I don't remember them reaching any kind of consensus about anything. Is it the city's current position that the ongoing funding is exclusively, we're attempting to get that done by partners, or is it something that we have a mechanism to consider funding from city resources?
We do not have a mechanism to consider funding from city resources. We have bits and pieces of things we could fund, but the entirety is not something that could be funded just from city resources. So that's why there were some things to consider as possible resource generators in the future, but staff did not receive direction to bring back any research on any of those.
And when you say we don't have resources for it, do you mean, and I'm sorry to be detailed here, but do you mean we don't have resources for it under the current budget, or we're not allowed to make resources for it?
We don't have resources under the current budget. We don't receive any funding for that purpose, so we would have to be taking that funding from something that we're already doing.
And when would be the next cycle of time when an item like this could be added to the city's proposed budget?
So we are in, staff is working on the next budget right now. That gets presented to the budget committee in May.
In May of this year, in May.
Yes.
And is it the budget committee is another thing that has a notice and everyone can go and all of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, their first meeting will be May 6th.
And do we have any plans to make the funding of such a thing a part of a future budget, like the next budget?
So what happened in the last budget is there's been money budgeted in what's called general fund non-departmental under a line item that I think we budgeted both in capital and in non-capital. And that one I believe was called council goals or something along that line. So that council had some resource with what was, for lack of a better term, left from our ARPA funding when we made some decisions on how to spend that.
Thank you.
But that's a one-time pot of money that will go away.
And so there's nothing proposed in the current budget that would be a reoccurring funding for such a thing? Like
Nothing's been identified yet. We do get some money from what we call the opioid settlements, but we could not 100% fund something unless we could say 100% of the people were impacted by opioids, and that would be a tough thing to identify.
Understood.
Any other questions for staff? Thank you. Update on the Homeless Commission organization. Jennifer?
At the January 2026 City Council meeting, the council made changes to the Roseburg Municipal Code regarding the organization of the Homeless Commission. This item is also, again, for informational purposes only. When originally formed back in December of 2020, the Homeless Commission consisted of 8 members, including the chair. 4 members were assigned seats to the directors of UCAN, UHA, Aviva Health, and ADAPT. 2 members were at large. In December of 2022, a 5th dedicated seat was added to include the Cow Creek Tribe of Umpqua Band of Indians. In August of 2025, after input from the Homeless Commission, the meeting frequency was changed from every month to every even month. In the fall of 2025, 2 of the dedicated seats chose to withdraw from the commission. At the January 12, 2026 meeting, the council adopted new municipal code language, removing those seats, changing the membership to 7, defining the 3 at-large members to be persons living or working within the boundary of the Roseburg School District, and changing the meeting frequency back to monthly. The new Roseburg Municipal Code now reads, the commission shall consist of 7 members, one of who shall serve as the chair. 3 members shall be director or designated representatives from the following local agencies: ADAPT, Aviva Health, and the Cow Creek Band of Umpqua Tribe of Indians. 3 members shall live or work within the boundary of the Roseburg School District. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, comments from the commission?
I just have a quick comment. In the first paragraph of the background, it's Cow Creek Band of Umpqua Tribe of Indians. It was represented correctly underneath the new code.
Sorry about that.
Next up, we have the consideration of revised meeting day and time, which we've talked about in the past but didn't get it concluded. So I'll let Jennifer read the current memo.
Yeah, so the City Council has determined the Homeless Commission should be meeting monthly. Staff is seeking direction on length of monthly meetings and a day and time of the month that may work best for the Commission members. Currently, the meetings are scheduled for the 4th Monday of each month at 11 a.m. for a duration of 1 hour. From a staff perspective, it is difficult to prepare the Commission agenda while also preparing City Council agendas since the meetings are on the same day. This, of course, should not be the deciding factor, as we can make it work if necessary. If the Commission would like to consider going to a 1.5-hour meeting, it would be appropriate to find a time that City Hall doors remain open during the entire meeting. The doors here automatically lock during the noon lunch hour, so the current meeting time cannot be extended and remain open to the public. Another option could be to pick a new time and keep the meeting length at 1 hour. If the scheduled time is extended to 1.5 hours, the meetings do not need to take the entire time. It would just be available for that amount of time. The council chambers are used for other commission meetings and for the municipal court, so available times are slightly limited. A few options have been provided below. So the first Mondays of the month, the third Monday of the month, and the second Thursday of the month, and there's time slots under that as well. Commissions may pick a new day, time, and meeting length, or stay with the existing time and meeting length.
Thank you. Comments from the commission or questions?
So the first question is, are we okay with an hour, or do you want to try and extend? We've kind of blown through everything pretty quickly today, but that's not always true.
Well, I think the 1.5 hours, if needed, is appropriate because we don't have to use it, but it would be appropriate. It's allocated. Is everyone okay with that? Okay. Then we really can't make a decision today on our next meeting time and day because we have 2 new commission members that will be joining us for the next meeting. So we'll make that decision then, but
Okay, but if folks can kind of look at their calendars for the slots that are available and let us, if you could let staff know days and times that are listed here that just don't work, we can start narrowing that down between now and then.
which staff member do you want them to tell?
They can tell Jennifer.
Okay.
And am I understanding correctly that it would probably be staff's preference if it wasn't Monday so that you weren't doubled up on the agenda and tasks and everything?
Yeah, the problem is council packet takes priority, and so this one is often waiting for that one to go out before we can finalize this one. Sorry.
So just the fourth Monday of the month is difficult.
What is the deadline that you would like these responses to you, Jennifer? How quickly?
Just as soon as you guys are able to get them to me would be appreciated.
Okay, great. We will do that soon. Like, they've already been looking at their calendar.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Roundtable updates from the commission. Does Jean have anything to bring to us from ADAPT?
Let's see, so the 511 Stevens project that we have is still under remodel. We were kind of right in the middle of the remodel and we got some more funding, so we dove a little deeper into the remodel, so we're a little bit further out on that. Progress Point, which is down at the other end of town, the old Travel Inn, is operational. I don't know if I've explained how that works, but it's early engagement housing. So we get people who are just kind of ready to make a change, and we have them interact with our peers. And usually it's about a 60-day target date, but we're looking to move them to a more stable. We get them stable and move them to more of a permanent type of housing. And we've had some successes doing it, so pretty encouraged by that. That's the only updates that I have.
Great, thank you. Ken, anything?
No updates.
Okay. Michelle?
The only update that I have is that our Cow Creek Health and Wellness Behavioral Health has been going out weekly or attempting at least weekly to hand out flyers about services at the Cow Creek Clinic, wound care, hand warmers, beanies, gloves, shower wipes, hygiene kits, and Narcan. We were doing that quite a while ago, and then we had some overturn in staff, and they have again started to do that out at Bernie's camp, and they're actually going today.
Ben?
You know, what's on my mind maybe belongs in the business from the commission, but I'm going to say it now so that it happens before the audience participation. And I guess where I'm at is I feel like there is a significant piece of the puzzle that's missing from what we're trying to accomplish with the urban campground. I'm going to back up and say I think the urban campground is kind of the first and foremost thing on most people's minds. And particularly as it relates to the non-sanctioned campgrounds. And it feels like the framework is too loosely defined if we don't have a funding resource, if we're, as a city, relying on a partner, a nonprofit partner in the future to manifest the ongoing needs of staff and resources and funding for this campground that we're considering creating in some location not near, which is a distance we don't know from these things. I think it's a mistake for us to not have a funding mechanism. We don't know after a year, 2 years, 6 months, that the organization that we partnership, that they might have a change in strategy or a change in leadership or a change in funding. We don't rely, backing up, if this urban campground is something that we need, then we need it and we need to fund it. We don't rely on a nonprofit partner to fund the police department, and we don't rely on a nonprofit partner to fund the jail. We don't rely on a nonprofit partner to fund the fire department. We've decided they're critical and we fund them. And I think that we should not let this May budgetary meeting go past without making a placeholder for us funding as a city the ongoing needs of this urban campground that we're trying to figure out. I think in the absence of that, we'll never be able to decide if the one that we're considering is a good idea or not, because there'll still be this giant empty piece for consideration. And so I think we have to have a budget so that it can be part of a decision. And when we reach a decision on where it's at and how it's going to be set up, we'll have money to fund it. And if there ends up later a nonprofit that can lighten the burden on us, that's great. And maybe we can use, this is a multifaceted problem. So if this is a homeless budget and a nonprofit steps in to help us with the urban campground, then we can take the unspent resources and do other good things, right? There are lots of other good things we could do with a homeless budget. But to not have one, I think, is a mistake. This will never get done because we'll never know if it's something worth buying, because we'll never know if it's something we can actually do, right? It's gonna keep happening. So I think it needs to be part of our budget. And then we can decide how big or small and all kind of other things that we can't decide right now. So that's my 2 cents.
Does staff have any comments?
So we can budget the one-time money. What we don't have is the ongoing resource. So there's some decisions that have to be made on how to generate that revenue if we're going to generate ongoing resources to support this.
I think then we need to get on with the process of figuring it out. Whether it's a bond, whether it's, if everyone wants it so bad, maybe it needs to be a bond, right? And if not, I don't know all of your business about how budgets can or can't expand or contract, what line items can be moved around. I don't know any of that. And so I'm sorry if I'm taking the Care Bear stare oversimplistic angle at this, but I think that we need to have a recurring, ongoing budget, and we need to figure out how we're going to do it. And if that needs a levy or bond or referendum or something, we need to get on with it because we need it. And without it, we're just whistling Dixie. I'm about to hear from all these people that are upset, and I agree with them. If I wasn't sitting here, I'd be sitting there. So I think we need to make it a part of our budget, and then we can decide how big of a thing we can do after we've dealt with the initial procurement and startup costs. We just got to face it. It's not going away. Everyone wants to do it. We can't. If we're all hoping for a solution that doesn't cost anybody anything, then we're all wasting our time.
Thank you. Anybody else? Now we're ready for audience participation, and first up is Bernie Woodard, and you have 4 minutes with a warning at 3 minutes. Correct, Amy? Yeah.
Good morning. Thanks for being here today so we can speak. It's very appreciated. Even when there's nothing to be said, as we've heard in this, and it's Bernie Woodard, 3261 Northeast Follett Street, Roseburg, Oregon. 4 minutes is not a lot of time, so I've already sent you guys like 20 pages of documents. One, it has 3 points on it that I look at. First off, the pictures in the document I sent you was taken just yesterday at 11 o'clock in the morning. That's outside time, place, and manner ordinance time, where camp should be removed by 8 o'clock in the morning. It's been like that for over 30 days in that Deer Creek Park. These are things that are problematic to small businesses in this community. They're problematic for taxpayers, for homeowners. You know, I'm sorry. I know I've had an axe to grind with nonprofits being on this commission, and I still do. And it's because I believe for-profit businesses and individual taxpayers, they have more of a sense of urgency to get this taken care of because we're losing value every day. We have 14, 15, 16 properties around Deer Creek Park. Our values are going down every day. You know, it's more like we're catering to drug and alcohol treatment and all those kind of things, and we're not catering to the people that own property. We're not catering to the people that pay the taxes in this city. And hopefully this commission takes it and says, hey, the new rules set down by the city council on changing the makeup of this commission, it's taken seriously, and everybody starts seeing a sense of urgency to fix this problem. Those camps should not be down there in the squallow and the mud and everything else. They're down there. There's handicapped people in some of those pictures, at least one. There's a handicapped person in a wheelchair. He can't even figure out how to get into Deer Creek Park in that mud. Other cities don't have urban campgrounds in mud. They have them on concrete. We have concrete in our city. We could figure that out too. Why aren't we doing it? It's like instead we're just almost targeting these properties down there, and we're targeting those people, and it needs to stop, and we need to find an answer. 3 points that I've made is the urban campground. We've proposed 2 properties already. We've been proposing for 2 years. We don't get asked, okay, how can we help you make those properties work for an urban campground? We get told, here's the obstacle, you can't do it. Other people are not told those things. They're not, but we are. And so the commission needs to, I ask you, to get this past us where we have answers and we create solutions. 1159, you guys have a map of it. 1159 Flint Street. It's 4 acres. Is that it, or is there a minute left? Okay, then up on Bellevue Court is 635 Bellevue Court. There's 4 acres up there. These are big properties that can be done. And we can also go under the argument of House Bill 3115 being changed. That may not ever happen, but we will still continue to have homelessness, and we need to figure out how to get an urban campground to fix it. Plus, we need changes to the tent camping resolution, and you guys could put that on your agenda to get us there. And then that can help alleviate some of the pressure on the homeless down in the park. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie. Dane Zahner, you're next.
Dane Zahner of Roseburg. I had sent you the connecting point data. I just want to make sure you got it. If you had any questions, it's something, we have a leadership team. We were formed under HTAG in 2017. Continue to grow. Most of those numbers are centered here in Roseburg, but our leadership team, which is myself, Carly, Rick with UCAN, Rick, Michelle, and Eddie. ADAPT is Julie and Mark, Douglas Public Health Network, Kim and Rob, and then LPSCC coordinator Corey Tate. But the HTAG last year decided to start sending, we do these for LPSCC's behavioral health meeting every month, and we thought it might be useful just to show kind of the dynamic of how many people that we're serving, and then we've added some additional data like on the back. I have not got the Dream Center information for this month, but they've been averaging about 350 unsheltered people, and that's 4 days a week, 4 weeks a month. We've been putting how many people they've been housed. They've probably been averaging about 15 a month, where they've actually been connecting with people in the camps and connecting them to housing. But we wanted to show some benefits. The Navigation Center, Laura's been getting us that information, like 48 guests, 2 access to housing, and they have a wait list, so that's come down a little bit, of 132 people. And Adapt Medical team, Amy has been getting me that data, and they're at the OTP, the Navigation Center, and out at the Dream Center, but they served about 41 people this last month. So I think just the overall picture, and then the Adapt shower trailer information, we try to unduplicate that, but 95 showers provided last month, 74 unduplicated. It's a little bit harder on we did 276 total services, and as I mentioned, most of those were centered in Roseburg. And then we did a recap for July through December for you also. So any questions on that information? But I think it just gives an overall picture of what we're seeing as far as our unhoused and unsheltered. Thank you.
I have a question. Are you, I know you don't distribute in the public anymore. Do you still collect?
No, we do not. So on there, it is identified. That's just collection. There are some sites where we can do harm reduction.
That's just a specific question. Do you still collect in the area that you're not allowed to distribute and share?
We are encouraging collection when Carly sweeps through on Thursdays and Mondays as she can.
Okay.
And she is encouraging collection, but a lot of the clients are saying they're bringing them back to the office.
Okay.
And so, or the Seventh-day Adventist Church, but that harm reduction number, like that 48, as I identified, those are only authorized locations that we serve those 48 people, mostly like Hastings. We have some general community members that get serviced in the Hastings Village area. And then Seventh-day Adventist Church, Myrtle Creek. But we don't do that. We follow the ordinance 100%. But I did identify, Carly said she collected about 403 clients, took Sharps containers. So we are still trying to encourage like collection.
Okay.
I'm speaking on behalf of HIV Alliance. We were actually equal with what we gave out and distributed, which is remarkable. I've never had a point where we actually, what we're distributing, what we're collecting, we're equal, and that's unheard of. And so I think we've made tremendous success. I'm not saying that there aren't clients out there that may be still discarding their syringes, but I think we're doing a spot-on job with all the community partners, the community leaders, and agencies just trying to really facilitate collection. You know, one thought I have had is the one that is in the duck pond is mainly garbage. What the city could do to help support is maybe identify that these are Sharps containers, not garbage containers, because they did paint over a few of those. And so they're not readily identified as a Sharps container only. And that one, we might want to look at repositioning that at some point in time, and putting it in a more usable location where people are actually dropping Sharps containers. That's just a thought. But I'm happy to always identify or communicate with somebody on some ideas and thoughts on this. Does that answer your question? Yes, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dane. Thank you. Thank you. I said thank you.
You are most welcome.
Next up, we have Ashley Hicks, and I believe she's going to be on the screen.
Ashley.
Good morning.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Chair, Commissioners. My name is Ashley Hicks. I am a Roseburg property owner, a small business owner, and formerly Ward 4 City Councilor. and a longtime Riverfront volunteer. I'm here to place several concerns into the public record. The city-owned parcel R20437 is located within the mapped floodplain, adjacent to Deer Creek Riparian Corridor and immediately next to an active railroad corridor. This combination creates environmental and public safety considerations that require careful management. I have documented ongoing encampment impacts, including fire activity, introduction of fill materials such as wood chips or sawdust, off-leash dogs, repeated police response, and pedestrian trespass onto the active rail line. I respectfully request clarification on the following. What environmental review has been conducted regarding material placement and floodplain impacts? Whether coordination with DEQ, DSL, or rail operators have occurred? What mitigation plan exists to reduce long-term degradation and prevent injury or loss of life? Additionally, SB 1145 funding was statutorily intended for post-incarceration population management. I respectfully request transparency regarding how funds connected to this population are being utilized locally. What percentage of individuals served fall within that statutory category? And what measurable outcomes are being tracked? I support lawful, environmentally compliant, and outcome-driven solutions. I do not support the normalization of unmanaged camping in floodplain and rail-adjacent areas. I respectfully request a formal site review and written clarification on environmental compliance and funding alignment. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Ashley. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to come up that didn't sign up? Okay, you have 4 minutes and 3-minute warning.
Good morning. My name is Max Smoot. I've been over the last several weeks working on laying the foundation kind of for a People's Homeless Commission, and I'd like to, gather, kind of a DIY grassroots, form of organization around this stuff, and a more practical kind of private citizen, like I said, direct action as far as like bringing, food to people and, things that are already happening, trying to just find ways to make that more abundant and efficient. Referring to the drugs or something that Bernie says that you're all catering to, that is largely a misinformation tactic. I think it's part of the psychological warfare that's being enacted, ongoing. There's a lot of ways that the police are harassing people, and there's more and more people coming, showing up there. I'm not sure if we have a documentation of how many people are coming and going or what's going on, but the police apparently give people like lectures and harass them when they show up there, instead of providing the relief that they could be providing. Also, I've been told many times by many people that they're stealing stuff. There's, it's nothing less than armed robbery that's going on when they do the sweeps and stuff. I was glad to see that they haven't done a sweep in the last month or so. I think the sweeps, another large issue with the misinformation going on is that the police actually clean stuff somehow. The routine is to leave a big pile of junk, and I don't know, there's a lot of speculation going on as to whether they remove like the topsoil or something to mitigate the risk of infection, like cellulitis. I don't know if you guys have discussed that. Apparently not, since you haven't had really any meetings. But yeah, the public is very concerned. I'm shifting my focus from like the homeless issue since that's just dehumanizing to even talk about it that way, into like more of a health crisis, public health crisis issue. We don't really think of it that way, I don't think. And to me, it seems like this is an ongoing thing that's been managed and purposely kept up. It's a decision to keep doing this and withholding any bathrooms, and to keep directing people to that site, the Deer Creek area, and then to like blame those people who are told to go there and basically, forced into that situation. I think the public has a right to know how much money they're spending, and what they're doing and what they're not doing exactly, instead of having to, talk to each other and try to figure that out. I think we need to get real about it. The Leave When Voters thing that you guys had, the public forum, it was stated that 90% of the people are on drugs. I'd really love to see, where they got the information. I think it's just police speculation, part of the psychological warfare that's going on. And so that's what I want to do, is mitigate that by giving people a place to exist. I've been experimenting that with my studio and catering to the public, and not on a basis of their ability to pay, and providing a bathroom and basic services. I think, like Ben said, it's not a thing that private nonprofits should necessarily be in charge of. I think a cooperative approach and a collective approach is much sorely needed. I think there's a lot of people that would like to be a part of a collective and a cooperative approach to this, and a more humane way of dealing with it. It can be done by private citizens. And I'd like to talk more about this. I did
Thank you,
apply
Max.
to be on the commission. I'd like to know.
Use your 4 minutes. Thank you so much. Thank
that-
you. Thank you. One more person if you're out there, and then we're going to move into business from the commission. Please state your name and where are you?
My name is Angela Aldrich. I'm a Douglas County resident, and I just want to say thank you, Ben, for saying what you said, which is there is definitely a missing piece. And I think it's sad to see that this is the first meeting since last year, and that our council can't speak behind these closed doors, or behind these open doors, I should say, in regards to making any major decisions. And so I think that's what the missing puzzle piece is that things are getting lost in the mix. You're not able to make major decisions, and I think this decision has been needing to be made for a while. I work and have worked with the county in regards to helping individuals, and the system is only going to get worse. Rent keeps increasing, and I can honestly say, if there's a documentary I can recommend, it's called There's No Place to Grow Old. It's a documentary about houseless individuals in the Portland, Oregon area. It speaks in regards to how our elderly are at risk. We have individuals on a fixed income that are literally struggling right now to make ends meet. And those are the individuals that you are going to be seeing on the streets, as well as others. It's a sad place right now in Douglas County as far as us making any major decisions, and I'd love to see something get made. I think there's different properties obviously available. I love the thought of all of you looking for different properties. Obviously, we need to be concerned in whether those properties are by services. Our houseless do not have the ability to get to services, as well as other individuals. We don't have bus passes anymore. Half of our community partners, and I definitely do believe our community partners have a space on this board and should be on this board. Our community partners are what are keeping our Douglas County residents afloat between each other, communicating, talking with each other, letting them know where there are services and what is available. And that is what is happening right now, is we have community partners that definitely want to assist the city council, and I think there are some missing pieces, and obviously Roseburg residents and Douglas County residents want to see a solution to this. It's sad to see. I've worked firsthand with Officer Chavez, with individuals that end up going to Mercy Hospital, and I can honestly say Mercy Hospital is another situation that we could go into on another time. They are releasing our homeless as immediately as soon as they get there. They're not getting the services they deserve and need, and that is why you are seeing MRSA, cellulitis, all the different items that are happening to our homeless. And so definitely there's a huge concern, and I'm here for our Douglas County residents, and we'll keep fighting for them.
Thank you, Angela. I didn't catch where you're from.
Sutherland, but I am definitely from the Douglas County area and reside here and will keep residing. Yeah.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Speaking of partnerships, I spent a couple hours last Tuesday with the warming center that UCAN operates for us as a partner. And I've been involved with the warming center for the last 4 years since UCAN started. And I want to tell you, it was the best run I've experienced. 4 full-time people from UCAN were there. A hired security guard from Eugene was there, and 1 volunteer. 5 guests. That was a disappointment for me. I asked Rick why, and he said, the people don't want to leave their stuff. So, and he did have the community homeless worker went out to the camps that day and told them. So UCAN is doing everything they can do. I just wanted to report what I experienced by being there. But thank you, UCAN, for your partnership and helping keep our unhoused home warm at night and through the night. Is there any other business from the commission? I know, Ben, you had yours. Do you have another one? Okay. Michelle, do you have anything?
I just, maybe next time we come back, I just had some questions in regards to Bernie's presentation. I guess some questions that are unknown to me. Who owns the properties? What are they zoned? Funding, whether, I noticed you're an LLC, whether or not you've applied for grants. How much does it cost to operate? Organizations that you work with, and I think there were several sessions ago that I asked if the Gary Leaf was working with you on, or if there was some overlap between moving people into their program.
The 1159 Southeast Flint Street is owned by Dan Goff, which is also a partner with us on the Zero Maselli tank camp that we've been running for over 2 years now. And he's continuing to be our partner on that one once we're approved. The zoning there is mixed use. It's right across the railroad track from the navigation center. It's connected to our Zero Maselli Park. The initial funding, the property has a really good agreement that I have with Dan. So it's more a lease as we extend our Zero Maselli camp out to that one. And then it's based on how many people we bring in. The difference with that camp is that we're going to provide wraparound services by people that may not do the same service, that will not be the same people doing the services here. So there's has been a lot of conflict with this commission, that some of it will be drug and alcohol rehab kind of things. Others will be housing location, mental health, those kind of things that are possibly not going to be partnered with people in this area. Some of the things are grant applications that can be for the ongoing operations. A lot of it can be paid by opioid, since a lot of our plan would be to take every person camping in Deer Creek Park or any place else to be zero or low barrier, so they can have a place to set their tent up in these properties. Either one of the two, either that one or the 635 City View property. The budgets, a lot of our stuff is self-managed, and where we let the cream rise to the top, where they start managing, because if you start looking at these management costs, we're going to sit here forever and never have an urban campground. That it has to be where people that are responsible inside of the camp can take part of those responsibilities, as far as the security cameras. The projects I've been involved with, I think that was one of the questions, is the 3 camps, and then We've recently got a grant and we're working on our third Connex container in Grants Pass, where we're going to provide 150 beds by June 1st, and it will be operational. And that's low barrier, where they don't have to, they've complied with House Bill 3115. They get their parks back, they get their city commercial areas back, and the city people get to enjoy their town again. That's what we need here also.
So the approval of that camp would go through a site plan review, and I don't know if it's been submitted or not. The initial preliminary site review, we responded with, we have a phase 1 on that property, it's contaminated, please provide documentation that DEQ is approving development of that property, that it's been cleaned. So that's the step that I think we're at. Stu, is that correct?
Yeah, Mr. Woodard and I have had conversations in regards to that, but ultimately we'd need a site review application, which would include information addressing that item.
Thank you.
We have no problem with that if we know the people.
Excuse me, we're not going to debate this here today. Thank you.
My point is that that's not a commission process to approve his camp. It would be through that site plan review process and meeting the zoning or the exemption.
And Nick, am I understanding you correctly that there's not an active application?
I would defer to Stu on that.
Correct. No active application for that.
Okay.
Continuing the business from the commission, Ken, Jean, anything? Okay. And our next meeting will be March 23rd at 10 o'clock. Then we'll know if we're going to change our meeting day and time for the
11.
future. 11, I'm sorry. Okay, meeting is adjourned.